welcome to the deep dive. So, our mission today, it's about a piece of gear that, well, it doesn't make any sound itself.
Right. Nothing audible directly.
But it fundamentally changes how everything else, on your pedal board might sound or operate.
It's kind of the ultimate utility box, but calling it just utility really undersells it.
Yeah.
Massively.
Okay. Yeah, definitely more than utility.
We are diving deep into the Electro Harmonix 8-step program.
The 8-step program. Okay, let's get right into it. This came out in 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
And it's important to get the context right. EHX wasn't just putting out another, big muff or analog delay.
No, not at all. This was them really stepping into the synth and modular kind of world. They specifically designed it as a sequenced control voltage generator.
Control voltage, that's the key phrase here.
Absolutely. That's the core idea. They saw that control manipulating parameters was becoming this new frontier.
So the big idea, the reason you really need to know about this pedal,
is that it gives you this kind of digital shortcut, a way to program, to sequence changes to basically any effect parameter.
Any parameter.
Well, any parameter on a pedal that accepts an expression input or, an actual CD input. Think rate, depth, filter cutoff.
Gotcha. So if you're listening to this, the takeaway right at the start is the 8-step program lets you turn your regular pedals, well, compatible ones.
Yeah, compatible ones.
Into these miniature programmable step-sequenced instruments.
Exactly. You're shifting your thinking. You're not just playing through the pedal anymore. You're actively programming how that pedal behaves over time, step by step.
Okay, let's dig into that mechanism then. If it's not sending audio, what is it sending? What's the signal, the language it uses?
Right. The language is control voltage, CV.
CV. Okay.
If you haven't encountered CV before, just think of it as a kind of standardized electrical language that synths and modular gear use. The 8-step specifically sends out 0 to 5 volts, 0.5V CV.
Okay, standard enough for synths. But here's the crucial bit, right?
For guitarists, yes. This is what made it bridge that gap. It also outputs an equivalent expression control signal.
Through a regular guitar cable jack.
Well, a TRS jack.
What?
A standard 14.6 stereo jack, like expression pedals use.
Oh, hold on. So by including both CV, that's the synth language, and the expression jack, the guitar pedal language, AHX was basically like forcing these two usually separate worlds to talk to each other.
Precisely. That dual output, that's the critical bridge they built.
Wow.
And its power really lies in that separation. It doesn't make sound, it makes instructions.
It's instruction, though.
Yeah, it tells other pedals how to behave and when over a sequence of steps. You essentially use the 8-step to draw a dynamic shape like a slow ramp or a quick pulse, maybe a wave.
You draw it with the controls.
Exactly. And then you apply that specific shape you just designed to whatever parameter you want, like maybe the feedback knob on your delay.
Or the blend on a reverb.
Or the blend on a reverb, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything controllable.
So it's less a generic controller and more like a dynamic shape composer.
That's a great way to put it. Shape composer. I like that.
Let's talk architecture then, because making those shapes, those instructions, that's where the real creative stuff happens. It's an 8-step sequencer.
Right. 8 steps. And it's all about the deep control you have over each of those 8 steps.
More than just a regular LFO then.
Oh, way more. Think about a standard LFO, a low-frequency oscillator. It just repeats one shape, right? A sine wave, maybe a square wave, over and over.
Yeah, pretty fixed.
The 8-step program is like having 8 little tiny programmable segments that you chain together to create a totally custom wave shape, one that maybe never existed before.
And that customization, you said it was intense. It's not just setting the level for each step.
No, not at all. Each of those 8 steps lets you tweak 3 main things. First, the value. That's the actual voltage level for that step, the peak or the trough.
Okay, the height of the step.
Exactly. Second, you set the individual glide time for each step.
Glide. Let's pause on that. Why is glide so important musically? What does that do?
Glide is crucial. It dictates how smoothly or abruptly the voltage moves from one step's value to the next.
Yeah.
So if you set the glide really low or off,
you get sharp changes.
Yeah, very sudden stair-step changes, really rhythmic, kind of choppy.
Okay.
But if you crank the glide up,
smooth.
Very smooth. The transition becomes slow, gradual, creates these beautiful, evolving sweeps. Ambient players love that.
Right. It completely changes the feel of the sequence from percussive to flowing.
Exactly. And the third, control for each step.
What's the third one?
Individual gate length.
Gate length, meaning how long it stays on that step.
Precisely. How long the sequencer holds that specific step's value before it moves on. So you could have, say, step 3, hold for a long sustained note or swell, and then have steps 4, 5, and 6 just rush past super quickly. Bap, 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 bap.
Ah, okay. That's what makes it so much more musical than just a repeating triangle wave or something. You're creating these uneven, like asymmetrical rhythms.
Totally, rhythms that a basic LFO just can't touch.
And the interface itself, it looks pretty hands-on. You've got the 8 knobs right there on top for the steps.
Exactly. Those 8-step knobs let you literally see and sculpt the shape of your sequence really fast. Just grab them and tweak them.
Nice.
But then you've got the global controls, too, which are key for performance. The rate knob, obviously.
Speed control.
Yeah, overall sequence speed. From super slow, almost static, up to crazy fast audio rate stuff.
And then there's depth. You mentioned that one earlier. Why is that particular global control so useful live?
Oh, the depth control is brilliant. It's basically a global intensity knob. It scales the entire sequence up or down.
So it affects all 8 steps at once?
Proportionally, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine you program this really wild sequence, but it's just too much for the song you're playing.
Right.
Instead of having to fiddle with all 8 step knobs again.
Which would take forever.
You just turn the global depth knob down. The whole program shape shrinks, gets less intense, but keeps its pattern. It's like an instant, less intense dial.
That's really smart. Okay, so you've got incredible control over the shape and intensity, but timing is everything, right? Especially with rhythmic stuff. How does it sync up?
Yeah, sync is a huge feature here. You can tap in the tempo with the foot switch. Standard tap tempo. Crucial for playing live with a drummer.
Essential.
But for studio work or more complex setups, it also has a dedicated CLOCK INP cheat jack.
Ah, so you can slave it to other gear.
Exactly. Sync it perfectly to an external MIDI clock signal from your DD, or maybe a pulse from a drum machine, or another sequencer, even modular gear. Keeps everything locked tight.
And the sequence itself doesn't just have to go forward, step 1 through 8.
No, definitely not. That's where the direction modes add another layer. There are 4 sequence direction modes.
4? Okay, what are they?
You've got the standard forward, obviously. Then there's reverse.
Then 8 back down to 1.
Yep. Then bounce, which goes 1 up to 8, then back down 8 to 1, back and forth.
Ping pong style.
Kind of, yeah. And then there's random mode.
Random? Does that just jump around unpredictably?
Pretty much, yeah. Jumps to any of the 8 steps randomly.
Okay. Forward seems obvious. But reverse or random? Are those actually musically useful? Or more just for, like, experimental noise?
Oh, definitely useful. Reverse is great for creating these sort of predictable decay shapes. Imagine programming a sequence that ramps up in intensity.
Okay.
Then you switch to reverse, and that whole shape plays backwards, ramping down. Creates a really nice controlled release effect.
Ah, I see. Cool. And random.
Random is gold for ambient textures or for generating unexpected rhythmic glitches. If you don't want a repeating pattern, if you want something constantly evolving,
Random's your friend.
it's perfect for that. Especially loved by, most artists and experimental folks.
Makes total sense. Okay, connecting it all up, you mentioned the dual outputs earlier, CV and expression. That allows simultaneous control.
Yeah, that's a massive feature. Think about it.
Yeah.
You could have the CV out controlling, say, the filter cutoff on your synth. While at the same time, the expression out is controlling the delay time on your guitar pedal.
Wow, from the same sequence.
From the same sequence, running simultaneously. It basically turns the 8-step into 2 independent but synchronized controllers.
That's powerful. And memory. Presets.
Yep, 99 user presets. You can program and save 99 different sequences. Huge for live use, recalling settings for different songs.
99, okay. And MIDI. You mentioned MIDI sync, but does it go deeper?
Oh, yeah. Full MIDI implementation. And remember, this was 2012. Seeing a utility pedal, not even an effect, with full MIDI control.
Like we're calling presets via MIDI.
We're calling presets, syncing tempo, even real-time editing of parameters over MIDI. It was kind of mind-blowing back then for a pedal like this.
Like a spaceship landing on your board, you said?
Pretty much. It really cemented it as a serious tool for studio integration, not just a quirky pedal.
Okay, this is all great background. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Applications. Where the rubber meets the road. What are people actually doing with this thing?
Right. Well, the most common thing is creating these really rhythmic, often complex, repeating patterns that you just can't get otherwise.
Yeah, my absolute favorite use has got to be the rhythmic filter sweeps.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
You hook it up to an envelope filter, like an EHX Qtron, maybe.
And the tube zipper, yeah.
And suddenly you've got these perfectly sequenced rhythmic wah sounds, like a super complex auto wah, but you design the rhythm.
Exactly. And because you have that per step glide and gate control.
You can make it really unique.
Yeah, you can program a straight 4-on-the-floor pulse or some syncopated weird polyrhythm. It's totally up to you.
What about pitch? Can you sequence notes with it?
You absolutely can. Pair it with something like the EHX Pitchfork or the HOG.
Pedals that shift pitch based on voltage or expression.
Right. The 8-step can then tell those pedals what pitch interval to jump to on each step. So you can create these melodic sequences, almost like a simple arpeggiator.
Driven by your guitar signal, but the melody comes from the 8-step.
Precisely. Turns your instrument into this kind of rudimentary sequencer.
Or just using it to make standard modulation effects more dynamic.
Definitely. Plug it into the expression jack of your chorus or phaser or tremolo.
Okay.
Now, instead of that modulation speed just staying the same forever.
It changes over the sequence?
Yeah. You can program the speed, or maybe the depth, to change on each step. So over 8 steps, your chorus could go from really slow and wide to fast and shimmery, then back again.
Making the texture evolve constantly.
Keeps things moving, makes it sound much less static, less monotonous.
And for the ambient folks, you talked about glide for smooth sweeps.
Yeah, for ambient textures, you often max out the glide. You're not looking for rhythmic hits anymore.
More like slow morphing.
Exactly. You program these long, subtle sequences, maybe taking several seconds to get through all 8 steps. It creates these incredibly smooth, evolving changes in filter cutoff or pitch, adds constant, subtle movement to pads or drones.
Keeps the sound alive without being obvious.
Perfect way to put it.
And we shouldn't forget its original intention, right? Connecting with synths and modular.
Absolutely. It works perfectly as a compact, standalone CV sequencer for analog synths or Eurorack systems.
Because it has that dedicated CV output.
Right. And it's rugged, it's portable compared to a big modular case. It became a real favorite for electronic musicians who needed a powerful little 8-step brain outside of their main rack.
Okay, let's wrap this up, bring it home. What's the legacy here? Where does the 8-step sit in the history of EHX? Alongside giants like the Microsynth, the HOG, the Super Ego.
It's definitely up there as a major synth-inspired innovation for them. It really marked a point where EHX fully embraced bringing modular concepts to guitarists.
It signaled they were serious about complex modulation control.
Yeah, serious about giving guitar players access to the kind of deep multi-stage control usually reserved for keyboard and synth players.
And it wasn't just a new effect, it fundamentally changed what their other pedals could do.
That's a key point. It elevated existing pedals, turning simple effects into these programmable modulation machines.
So looking at the bigger picture, what are the lasting impacts?
Well, several things. First, like we said, it genuinely bridged that gap between the guitar pedal world and the modular synth world. Made CV and expression control feel more connected.
Okay, a bridge function.
Second, it really solidified this idea of turning standard effects into programmable, sequenced instruments, thinking about pedals not just as static boxes.
And technically, what was the big technical leap?
Technically, maybe the most significant thing was normalizing full MIDI implementation in a utility pedal like this.
Setting a new standard.
Absolutely. That level of digital control really paved the way for EHX's later, even more complex digital stuff and pushed other companies to step up their MIDI game too.
And it definitely broadened their audience, right? Beyond just guitar players.
Oh, for sure. It pulled in electronic musicians, experimental artists. That's why it has such a dedicated, almost cult following among people who really value precise control.
So its legacy is clear. It inspired a whole approach. Didn't they release an expander for it too?
They did, yeah. A control voltage expander module came later, adding even more outputs and control. But really, its main legacy is inspiring these modern hybrid setups.
Pedal boards that think like synths.
Exactly. Pedal boards designed not just as a linear chain, but as these mini modular systems, all interconnected with CV, expression, and MIDI. The 8-step was a blueprint for that.
So wrapping up, the 8-step program is really essential knowledge if you want to understand how we got from simple stomp boxes to these incredibly complex, controllable pedal board systems we see today.
The silent hero of dynamic modulation, maybe.
I like that, silent hero.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. We've talked about how the 8-step sequences, parameters rate, depth, filter, pitch.
Right, the characteristics of the sound.
So how might focusing on sequencing those parameters change how you think about composing or structuring music compared to just sequencing the notes themselves? Could you build the rhythm and flow of a song purely through evolving textures and sequenced effects?
Defining structure through modulation, not just melody or chords, that's a fascinating thought to end on.